There is something deeply unsettling about seeing yourself from the outside. Not in a mirror, not in a reflection, but as a separate figure, moving independently, existing without your control. Across folklore, the doppelganger is not just a double. It is a warning, an omen, a signal that something is misaligned. Because the moment you encounter your double, you are no longer fully in control of your own identity. The most unsettling part is, sometimes you didn't create it. Hi, my name is Steph Fitzgerald, and I'm the Experience Architect. I design how systems shape human experience. And this is Experience Systems, where leadership, psychology, and design converge into living systems. But on Sundays, we step somewhere darker, a little stranger, a little softer, a little more midnight. Less lecture, more candlelight, more stories told too late at night. So welcome to Creatures of the Night. And tonight, we talk about doubles. Not copies of your voice, not echoes of your ideas, copies of you, or at least something that looks like you. The word doppelganger comes from German, double walker. A figure that looks like you, moves like you, exists alongside you, but is not you. In many stories, seeing your doppelganger is a bad sign, an omen of death, a fracture in reality, a moment when identity splits because the doppelganger raises a terrifying question. If something else can be you, then what defines who you are? Humans like to believe identity is stable, consistent, self-defined. But identity is relational. It exists not just in your mind, but in the perception of others. How people interpret you, how they describe you, how they remember you when you're not in the room. That is where the doppelganger begins forming. Because the version of you that lives in the system is not fully under your control. In organizations, your reputation is your double. It moves ahead of you, speaks for you, shapes how others interact with you before you ever arrive. And sometimes it is accurate. And sometimes it is not. But either way, it exists. And once it exists, people start responding to it instead of you. They respond to the story, the label, the interpretation, not the person. And over time, that creates tension. Because now there are two versions of you in the same system. The one you are, and the one people believe you are. And when those versions don't align, people adapt. They start managing perception, adjusting behavior, editing expression, trying to close the gap between identity and expectation. But here's where it gets dangerous. Because eventually, you stop asking who you are and start asking, what version of me does the system expect? And the more often you answer that question, the more power the doppelganger gains. Once identity becomes performance, authenticity becomes negotiable. You learn when to soften, when to sharpen, when to stay quiet, when to step forward. Not based on truth, based on survival. And this is not failure. It is adaptation. But adaptation has a cost. Because every time you shift behavior to match perception, you reinforce the external version of you. The doppelganger grows stronger. And your internal signal gets quieter. Some environments accelerate this process. High visibility, high politics, high ambiguity. Places where perception matters as much as performance, or more. In these systems, people are rarely interacting with each other directly. They are interacting with versions of each other, constructed identities, narratives, expectations. And once that happens, clarity becomes difficult because no one is fully sure which version is real. The mimic stills your voice. The doppelganger replaces your identity. And both rely on the same system flaw. Humans trust perception more than origin, more than truth, more than direct experience. Because perception is faster, easier, socially reinforced. And that's what allows the double to exist. And sometimes, the most unsettling moment is not when someone else misunderstands you. It's when you start recognizing the version they believe. When you catch yourself thinking, that's not me. Followed by, but maybe that's who I have to be here. And that's the fracture. The quiet moment where identity splits. Not because you changed, because the system required a version of you that didn't fully exist until it did. The doppelganger is not terrifying because it looks like you. It's terrifying because other people believe it is you. So maybe the question isn't whether doubles exist. Maybe the question is, what version of you is moving through the system right now? Who created it? Who reinforced it? And how much control do you actually have over it? Because identity is not just something you define. It's something systems participate in shaping. And sometimes the most important work is not becoming something new. It's reclaiming the version of yourself that existed before the system rewrote it. Good night, my creatures. It's time to rise.